Chaos, confusion, noise, pressure, it's everywhere. People crack, they snap, they scream, they fold, but not you, because you train differently. You trained your mind to stay calm no matter what happens. You see, calm isn't weakness. Calm is a weapon. When everything goes to hell, the calm man leads, the calm man thinks, the calm man executes, and while the rest are busy reacting, you're busy winning. You don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your training, so train hard, train your emotions to obey. Discipline your mind like you discipline your body. When that wave of panic hits, you breathe. When the pressure builds, you hold your frame. Because you're not here to be emotional, you're here to be effective. So when the noise gets louder, your focus gets sharper. When they lose control, you gain ground. That's how warriors move. That's how leaders survive. That's how you win. Calm is earned through repetition, through challenge, through suffering, through ownership. When everything says panic, you say no. You say I've trained for this, and you move forward. Cold, controlled, ready. Chaos is inevitable, but panic is a choice. The world doesn't owe you peace. It won't hand you comfort. Life is unpredictable, messy, volatile, unfair. The storm will come. You don't get to control the wind, the rain, or the fire. What you do control is your reaction. That's where the power lies. When the unexpected hits, when things fall apart, when the pressure mounts. Panic is not a requirement, it's an option. It's a weakness disguised as instinct. You don't have to choose it. Panic is what happens when the mind isn't trained. It's the byproduct of neglect, of unpreparedness. It's the default setting of someone who has never stepped into discomfort willingly. But you, if you want to lead, if you want to win, if you want to overcome, you don't have the luxury of panic. You need clarity when others are confused. You need stillness when others are frantic. You need presence when others are spiraling. That only happens when you've chosen the hard path over and over. When you've trained yourself to stay grounded under pressure. When you've conditioned your mind to override the screaming emotion with silent discipline. Understand this: chaos doesn't care about your feelings. It doesn't slow down because you're overwhelmed. The battlefield, the boardroom, the real world, it keeps moving. You either adapt or fall. Panic delays response. It clouds judgment. It paralyzes action. In moments when action is critical, panic is the enemy, and the enemy wins when you lose control. So, what do? You prepare. You rehearse adversity before it hits. You visualize the worst case scenarios and walk through them mentally until your brain knows how to stay calm. You breathe when your instincts tell you to run. You speak with intention when your nerves want to scream. You slow down when everything around you speeds up. You decide not to panic, again and again and again. There's a quiet strength in that decision, a power that most never reach because they've never chosen it. You want to stand out. Don't just train your body, train your reaction, train your breath. Train your internal state. The calm mind makes the right moves under pressure. The calm warrior wins not because he's stronger, but because he thinks clearly when others don't. When chaos arrives, and it will, you must be ready, because your calm is not just for you, it's for the people around you. It's for the mission, it's for the bigger picture. You don't get to lose your head. You must be the one who holds the line, and that begins with one truth. Chaos is inevitable, but panic is a choice. Choose differently. Emotions are loud. They scream in your ear. They demand attention. They beg you to act right now. Anger flares, fear shakes you. Frustration clouds your thinking. And if you let them, they'll take the wheel. They'll drive your decisions, your words, your actions. But emotions are not your commander. They are noise. Powerful, yes, but undisciplined and in the middle of storm. When everything feels urgent and overwhelming, you must remember, discipline is silent, and silence is strength. Discipline doesn't scream, it whispers. It says, hold the line. It says, wait. Think. Choose. When emotions push, discipline resists. When emotion says quit, discipline says continue. When emotion says speak, discipline says listen. Discipline isn't about suppression, it's about control. It's about knowing the difference between reaction and response. One is emotional, the other is intentional, and intention is how you build a life that doesn't collapse under pressure. Every day, emotions will try to hijack you. They'll disguise themselves as truth, as urgency, as instinct, but feelings aren't facts. You may feel tired, but you still have work to do. You may feel angry, but you still need to lead with clarity. You may feel afraid, but fear cannot dictate your mission. Discipline doesn't ignore these feelings, it acknowledges them and keeps moving anyway. That's the mark of mental strength. Not that you feel nothing, but that you aren't ruled by what you feel. Discipline means building habits that don't rely on motivation. It means having systems in place so you don't have to think about whether or not you'll follow through. You just do. The emotional person waits for the right mood. The disciplined person executes regardless of mood. That's why discipline wins. It shows up when motivation disappears. It acts when comfort is tempting. It stays consistent when feelings are unpredictable. Emotions come in waves, high and low, strong and weak. But discipline is constant, steady, reliable, and in the real world that matters more. In training, in relationships, in battle, in leadership, the calm, disciplined person earns trust because people know that when things go wrong, when the heat rises, when everything's on the line, you won't break, you won't snap, you'll stay rooted, you'll stay in control, and you'll act with precision, not emotion. This isn't easy, but nothing valuable is. It takes daily effort. It takes brutal honesty with yourself. It takes showing up when it's hard, doing the work when no one's watching, and making decisions that align with your mission, not your momentary feelings. Discipline is built one rep at a time, in silence, no applause, no hype, just repetition. So when emotions scream, let them. You don't have to answer. You've got a mission, you've got a standard, and your discipline, quiet as it may be, is louder than anything your emotions throw at you. Stay disciplined. That's how you win. The world loses its mind, you keep yours. That's your job. That's your duty. Because the world will unravel. It will panic. It will rage. It will overreact. People will fold under pressure. They will point fingers. They will freeze. They will shout louder and louder, hoping noise will solve the problem. But noise doesn't win. Clarity does. And in the middle of chaos, your clarity is your weapon. Most people follow the crowd. They mimic the fear, absorb the panic, ride the emotional wave until it drowns them. But not you. You've trained yourself to think independently, to pause, to assess, to decide instead of react, because you understand something they don't. The more unstable the world becomes, the more critical your stability is. This isn't just about staying calm, it's about staying functional. When emotions run high, logic disappears. And when logic disappears, bad decisions follow. But your mission doesn't care how you feel. Your responsibilities don't pause just because the world is loud and irrational. So while others are driven by impulse, you lean on discipline, you lean on principle, you lean on preparation. You keep your mind when others lose theirs because you've trained it, you've put it through fire, you've endured the uncomfortable, you've said no to comfort, you've said yes to hard truth, you've practiced thinking clearly when things were falling apart. And now, when it counts, that training pays off. Leadership starts with self-leadership. You can't control your own mind. You have no business trying to influence others. So you protect your mindset like a fortress. You don't let the negativity in. You don't let the noise distract you. You don't let the irrational pull you into their storm. You remain the eye of the hurricane, calm, centered, focused. This isn't easy. In fact, it's one of the hardest things to do, because everything in your environment is pushing you to react. The media, the headlines, the panic around you, it's all designed to shake you. But if you let that in, if you allow the chaos of the outside world to dominate your internal world, then you've already lost. So you build walls, not walls that disconnect you, but walls that protect your discipline. You think for yourself. You ask better questions. You operate with intention. And most importantly, you don't lose yourself in the noise. Because when the world loses its mind, the ones who keep theirs become the leaders, the warriors, the decision makers, the survivors. Your power lies in your ability to stay grounded, not just when it's calm, but especially when it's not. Anyone can act rational when things are smooth, but when the pressure spikes, when the world spirals, when fear spreads like wildfire, that's when your mindset is tested. And that's when you prove you're built different. Let the world scream, let it panic. You don't flinch, you stay sharp, you stay grounded, you keep your mind, because that's what warriors do. Calm doesn't mean weak, it means controlled, deadly. That's what people don't understand. They mistake silence for softness. They think calm means passive, indifferent, or scared. They're wrong. Calm is power under control. It's the trained ability to hold back the storm when everything inside you wants to unleash it. Calm is what separates the emotional from the effective, the loud from the lethal. In combat, the calm soldier survives, not because he's fearless, but because he's focused. He moves with intention, every step calculated, every decision deliberate. He's not reacting to the chaos. He's operating within it. He's not rattled by the noise. He's filtering it out because he's trained for it. He's seen what panic does. He's seen how emotions can destroy precision, and he's decided, I won't let that be me. In life, the same rule applies. When challenges rise, when people push buttons, when situations try to provoke a reaction, you don't need to raise your voice. You don't need to prove anything. Your calm presence is the proof, because the most dangerous man in the room isn't the loudest one. It's the one who speaks last, the one who waits, the one who sees 10 moves ahead and doesn't need to advertise it. People confuse calm with inaction, but calm is not passive. Calm is preparation, it's awareness, it's confidence built through discipline. It's walking into the fire with a steady heartbeat because you've trained in the heat before. It's knowing that your emotions don't dictate your behavior, your principles do. That's not weakness. That's strength most people never reach. You see, rage is easy, anger is easy, panic is easy. Anyone can lose control. That doesn't make you strong. It makes you vulnerable. The man who loses his temper loses his edge. The man who can't sit still loses perspective, but the one who can stay calm under pressure, that's the man who wins. That's the man people follow. That's the man who gets results. Calm is deadly because it makes you unpredictable. No one knows what's coming next. You don't react emotionally, so your opponent can't read you. You're not giving away your thoughts with every facial expression. You're not rattled. You're not impulsive. You're dangerous in your stillness. Every word you speak carries weight because you don't waste them. Every action you take is clean, efficient, controlled. This doesn't happen by accident. It comes from relentless self-discipline, from hours of controlling your breath when your body wants to quit, from pushing your limits when comfort whispers to stop, from facing confrontation and choosing strength over ego. You earn your calm the hard way, so don't let anyone mistake your silence for weakness. Let them underestimate you. Let them believe they have the upper hand, because when the time comes, you won't need to shout. You won't need to warn, you'll just execute. Calm, controlled, deadly, trained for the storm before the sky even turns gray. That's the mindset, that's the mission. You don't wait for the crisis to get ready. You prepare when it's quiet. You sharpen the blade when there's no enemy in sight, because when the storm hits, and it will, it's already too late to prepare. By then, you either rise or you fall based on the work you put in. When no one was watching, most people wait. They wait for the warning signs. They wait for pressure. They wait for things to break before they build themselves. That's why they lose, because life doesn't give you a calendar before it breaks you. It just comes fast, unexpected, and it doesn't care if you're ready or not. So you don't wait, you train. You train your body, your mind, your discipline, your decisions every day. The storm is the test, but training is the answer. You train your patience when things are good, so you don't snap when things go wrong. You train your habits now, so they're automatic later. You train your reactions, your breathing, your thoughts, because you know that when chaos arrives, there won't be time to think. There will only be time to act, and your actions will reflect your preparation, not your hope, not your intention, your preparation. This is where most people fail. They think they'll rise to the occasion. They believe that when the pressure hits, something magical will wake up inside them. It won't. You don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your training. You fall to the level of your habits. That's why training matters more than motivation. Motivation fades, but habits hold the line. So build systems that are stronger than your moods. Build discipline that doesn't care if the sun is shining or the rain is coming. Be the kind of person who's always preparing, always sharpening, always getting one step ahead, not out of fear, but out of readiness, because you know the storm isn't personal. It's just life, hard, unfair, unpredictable, but it doesn't have to break you if you're ready for it. Train in the silence so you can operate in the chaos. Train when no one's clapping. Train when it's boring. When it's hard, when you'd rather quit, that's when it counts, because when everyone else is scrambling, you'll be steady. When they're lost, you'll know exactly what to do. Not because you're lucky, because you were ready. That's the difference between the ones who survive and the ones who collapse. So look at the clear sky not with comfort, but with discipline, because that's your signal, that's your moment. That's when the real warriors train before the storm, before the pressure, before the sky even turns gray. You own your mind, so master it or be ruled by it. That's the truth. Most people run from. They act like their thoughts are facts, like their impulses are commands, like they're just passengers in their own head. But they're not, and neither are you. You are the owner. You are the commander. That voice inside your head, it's not your boss. It works for you. And if you don't take control, if you don't train it, shape it, discipline it, it will run wild. It will run you into fear, into failure, into mediocrity. Your mind can be your greatest ally or your most dangerous enemy. Left unchecked, it will sabotage everything. It will fill your head with doubt. Excuses, weakness. It will whisper you're not ready. Right when you need to move, it will tell you you can't. Right when you need to fight. But here's the truth. It only says what you've allowed it to say. You've trained it, whether intentionally or not. If you fed it comfort, it'll crave ease. If you've rewarded laziness, it'll resist discipline. If you've surrendered to fear, it will dominate you. But the same way you trained it wrong, you can train it right. You can take it back. You can teach it to obey, to focus, to push, to endure. You can make your mind a weapon, and like any weapon, it requires control. You don't fire off every emotion that arises. You don't act on every thought that appears. You observe, you assess, you choose. That's what mastery looks like. It's not pretending you don't have fear, it's refusing to let fear lead. It's not avoiding anger, it's learning to hold it steady and use it when necessary. It's not silencing discomfort. It's training yourself to move forward in spite of it. That kind of mental control doesn't come easy. It's built in silence, in struggle, in repetition. You build it when you wake up early even when you don't want to. You build it when you face the hard conversations instead of avoiding them. You build it when you stay on track even when no one is watching. It's not about perfection. It's about consistency, about making a decision again and again to be the one in charge. There's no freedom without mental discipline. Because if you don't control your mind, someone else will. The world is full of noise, of manipulation, of distractions pulling you in every direction. And if you haven't trained your thoughts, if you haven't strengthened your focus, you will be pulled off course, off mission, off the life you were meant to build. So you choose. You either become the master of your mind, or you become its servant. There is no in between, and the longer you wait to take control, the more damage it does. The more time you lose, the more dreams you bury. But the moment you decide, truly decide, to own your mind, you take the first step toward real power, toward real freedom, toward becoming who you were born to be.